This video is brought to you by Soundcore. Excuse me, but I have to say this again. How is this $99? Because let me tell you, it packs everything you could ever imagine. Great ANC with 40 hours playtime, multi-point connection LDAC, then surprise surprise, a wear detection sensor, which is something you don't get until you spend hundreds of dollars more, and my favorite feature, tap for transparency mode, is back. But there are so many more good things that makes this an instant recommendation, so hit the thumbs up if you're excited, and let's get in depth right now. Selamat pagi! Good morning everyone, Kenneth here and welcome to my Soundcore Space One review. Now, I wanted to make this clear before starting. Yes, Soundcore sponsored this video, but they 100% agreed on making a completely honest review like what you always get on the channel. So please rest assured, my full disclosure is down below, and let's start by talking about that price. So to make it clear, this is aimed to be a successor to the Live Q30, which is still an amazing headphone I reviewed a while back. And now we've got something that's better in every literal aspect. Having said that, this is not meant to replace the Space Q45, which is still the more premium offering, and we'll talk more about it as we go. Okay, I hate to make you wait, so let's start right away with the unboxing and build quality. And one thing that I really respect the company for is their latest move on using biodegradable materials for everything in their packaging. Also this time, we've got 3 color choices. Here we have the sky blue color as well as a cream color that looks just as amazing. I love them. And of course, you have the usual black if you prefer that. Now, aside from the headphone, we've got a matching colored 3.5mm cable, some paperwork, and a fabric carrying case. This is probably the only thing that let me down a bit, since we've got a perfectly great flat hard case with any other Soundcore headphones before. And as we all know, a pouch is not going to protect much against pressure, especially when you put it in a bag, but at least it's got felt lining inside to protect it from scratches, and it's color matched too, so it looks pretty good. That aside though, there are some significant updates to the headphone design, and that's mainly around this headband and the hinge. Firstly, it's smaller in size, so it looks sleeker to me personally, but most importantly, it's very easy to pull down when you first wear it. Then the ear cups can tilt in all directions to give you the best fit. And also the area where you're holding the ear cups here are textured, so you're going to get a good grip every time you adjust the ear cups. I like the design very much. Now, to fit the budget, the material is still all plastic, unlike the Space Q45 that's made of more durable metal and aluminum, especially in the headband and hinge here. But plastic is not all that bad because these headphones feel significantly lighter, weighing at just above 260 grams, which is almost the same weight as the Sony XM5, plus the ample memory foam here, a light but secure clamping force. The Space One is comfortable to wear for hours, and just as importantly, my ears don't feel toasty hot after wearing this for more than 2 hours at a time. But now if you're thinking it's all great, actually because of the relatively light fit, the ear cups do not block as much noise passively, especially compared to the much tighter Space Q45 here, which together with the ANC has really surprised me by how much noise it blocks, especially on the upper frequencies. I remember clearly how this could hold its ground against the Sony XM5 despite costing less than half the price. And now we go back to the ANC and the Space One. This thing is almost on par with the Space Q45, which is impressive. And the updated ANC works well in blocking out low rumbles and mids. There's no hissing whatsoever, but it's the upper mid to high frequency sound of people talking, music playing, where you'll notice the biggest difference when you spend up to the more premium headphones. Now, moving on to the transparency mode, I would say they are pretty natural sounding. I could hold a perfectly natural conversation with these on. I usually prefer the normal maxed out custom transparency because at that level, you don't hear much of your own bone conducted sound when you talk, but you could customize it like the ANC between 1 to 5, and you can turn on what's called Easy Chat in the app, which enables a special transparency mode. You activate it by either touch and holding the left ear cup, or you just simply say something. I found the speech detection system to be pretty great. It doesn't trigger accidentally all the time, so you can definitely use it, but I personally prefer the manual way to have full control. Also, the transparency mode is a bit different here because it only lowers your music volume and boosts the vocal upper mid frequency. So it's easier to hear what people are saying, but it's not the most natural. And there's going to be some upper mid noise, which honestly is better than having to shout, huh? And what are you saying? Because you cannot hear them and you use it for short conversations anyway. So it's good. Furthermore, the mics for the ANC transparency are located at the back, so it doesn't get affected by wind coming from the front. But let's say you walk out in a street and the wind is blowing from your back. You can turn wind noise reduction in the app and just forget it, leave it on, because it doesn't affect the normal ANC performance. Just when it detects wind, after a few seconds, it automatically reduces that wind noise. So it's useful, but know that you can save a bit more battery by turning it off if you don't need it at all. Now, briefly touching the controls, you'll feel right at home if you have used any Soundcore headphones before, because they are all physical buttons easily within the reach of your thumb. The volume down button is slightly protruded so you can feel where you're at, and next previous song is done by holding the volume buttons. What's entirely new in this $100 price point is a wear detection sensor that you need to calibrate first in the app before activating it. Basically, it needs to know how close your ear gets when you are wearing it and when you're not. And not only it functions to play and pause music, but it also stops ANC or transparency when you're not wearing it to save battery. It's an amazing move from Soundcore. I found it to work most of the time. Just know that when you're folding the headphone like this, the sensor might detect that you're wearing it. But that's really not a problem at all. Simply calibrate it again and it should be fine. Now back to the whole controls thing. Since everything is covered here, the customization in the app is not much, but they're still very important, like selecting to switch between ANC or transparency only, or you want to include the normal ANC off mode as well to save battery. And double tapping the ANC button on the left side here lets you quickly switch to bass boost EQ, which sounds great, and we'll talk more about it in a bit. And what made me use it in the first place is because it switches between whatever EQ you set before to bass boost. So if you use custom EQ, then it's gonna switch between bass and custom EQ, which is exactly the same with Space Q45. Just the buttons here don't wiggle like the Space one, which is some of the smaller things why this thing feels more premium. Now, speaking of battery life, these are the same as the Live Q30, which is still very, very good, clocking it at 40 hours with ANC or transparency and 55 hours without ANC. Easily could last you a week or two, but things get a bit more picky when it comes to using this plugged in. So you can turn the electricity on in wired mode. There will be a bit of ANC. The audio processing stuff will have power, so it will sound exactly like it is wireless, with a note that you need to crank the volume up almost 3-4 clicks more. Then when you unplug it, it will automatically turn the headphones off. But that's pretty much it. You can press the ANC button. The headphone will say transparency or noise cancelling, but nothing will change. And let's say you drain the battery life completely. Can you still use the headphone wired? The answer is yes, but without powering that DSP, the passive sound from these drivers are so mid-heavy with no sub bass or treble. I strongly suggest you to not use it. Fortunately, these headphones charge very fast, giving you back another 4 hours of playtime in just 5 minutes of charging. So this whole wire thing with no battery will not be an issue at all. There will always be voice prompts also telling you every time you turn it on, battery medium, battery low. So it's very unlikely you have it completely drained. Now, let's finally talk about sound quality. And I have to commend Soundcore because this has pretty good balance tuning out of the box. Gone are the days from this Live Q30 it's replacing where you need to immediately change the EQ, then you need to make another one for transparency mode because when you change ANC modes, the sound changes too. The Space one does not have any of these issues, and my EQ here sounds quite similar to the default tuning, just I cleaned up the presentation a bit and boosting the upper mid to bring the vocals more in focus. I still recommend you try it, and we're going to use this for the song examples, but it's not a must change this time around. Okay, I like to give some love to a song in my language I recently fell in love, Barit Labralua Discoria. This song sounds huge with trumpets and strings playing on top of a band. And you know, first thing I thought was how I miss this immersive experience you get with headphones, how every drum kick is really palpable, how easily distinguishable where instruments are coming from. The Space one is capable of doing all that and then some more, giving you a ticklish percussion sound on the left, trumpets on the right, very nice vocals in the center. I genuinely have no problem enjoying this sound for $100. But I just can't help to mention its brother, the Space Q45, which pulls ahead big time, resolving much more detail and sounding more dynamic overall, which means at the same volume level, you're getting punchier bass and clearer treble, which is great for complicated mixes like rock or orchestra, these kind of stuff. But when it comes to simpler songs though, the story flips around. I hands down enjoy EDM songs like Just Got Paid by Sigala way more on the Space One, especially that you can simply double tap the ANC button to turn on bass up EQ, which instantly elevates the low and oomph much more than the Q45. And since the trebles are naturally not too bright here, you can crank up the volume and really enjoy the beat without being fatigued. So I love the fact that you have two EQs available at your fingertips. And while the Space One sounds pretty good with most genres, it's definitely going to shine the most with beat-driven songs like in most pop and dance songs today. Just keep in mind that if you want more detail, then the Space Q45 might be the better choice, and all links are down in the description below. With that said, let's touch on connectivity a bit, because not only I haven't had any cutout or stutters, you'll definitely appreciate the multi-point connection that works perfectly. If you want to maximize on sound quality though, you can use LDAC in the Android app. You have to activate it first, but you'll no longer have multi-point capability, and you'll use a bit more battery, although it is less of a problem here since the battery is so enduring, unlike teeny tiny truly wireless earbuds. Also, as far as latency is concerned, I can say it's perfectly in sync when watching YouTube videos, but there's no gaming mode whatsoever, so you're going to have around 300 milliseconds of latency in real-time shooters, which is where it's going to be the most noticeable. But for more casual games like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, racing games and stuff, it's going to be perfectly fine. Alright, let's finally check out the microphone with the usual AI smarts from Soundcore. They've been great in the past, and I've used them in a meeting before, in many meetings, and they sound great. But let's hear them yourselves right now. Alright, so welcome to the microphone test, everyone. Here we are using the Soundcore Space One, and what do you think of the sound quality? We are testing in an indoor setting where I just recorded here. So it's a relatively quiet room with nothing but the AC set at high, how do you call it, high fan speed. So yeah, this is the sound that you could expect when you're doing indoor meetings and stuff like that. And now let's go outside and we'll see how it handles the outside noise. All right, so welcome outside where I am now recording with the phone microphone, the front one. So hopefully you get an idea of how it sounds outside here. And now let's switch to the Soundcore Space One. Okay, so here we are now using the Soundcore Space One, and we have a wind, a little bit of wind blowing at my face right now. So let's see how this thing handles that. And there are a lot of cars right now in this hour, so let's see how does this blocks them and how does this catches my voice. So what do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. And that's pretty much it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see my Space Q45 unboxing, I'll just put it right here. And also click here to buy the Soundcore Space One right away. All right, thank you so much for watching. I'm Kenneth, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.